Hi everyone, today is 23rd of September. Let's start with Bitcoin at 6 hours this week. So what do we see here? Excuse me. Okay, so it survived here. Excuse me. Survived here, we know. Last time we had this line. This line was important last week, and we could see there was a nice bounce after that. It broke above the critical support one as well, but not for long. And in terms of weekly, it wasn't able to keep up. Yeah, intraday and on lower time frame, we see a couple of breakouts, but not able to sustain, not able to keep up. So it has come down now. Still, this position is not that bad. So now I will move this white line is a reference line. It's around 26,200, right? So we can say that this 26,000 level is now in interim support. I don't want to add a support line in between, but as far as this structure is concerned at a very low time frame, 26,000 is important. And if it, so from here, it could try to move up and break above this particular level from where it got rejected. There is a range up to 28,000. So as we talked about this range that we need at least 28,000. So, so that's the requirement. And this is not bad. Though there is no momentum, there is no pump here. We know that. But it is good because it's about 26K. So that's how I'll put. So if I have to highlight the key level, 28,000 level is what we want over here. 28,000 level. Though it is below this trend line, to be honest, 28,000 level is the first requirement, big requirement that I have. Because if that is broken above, then I think we will feel really good because this was a real nice attempt with a good volume. So if it could stay above this one, that will be a big sign. That will be a great sign, in fact. So that's what we would like to see. And so far, so good. Though there's nothing thrilling, though. There's nothing exciting, I understand. And the bearish environment around us is growing and growing. And not only that, I could see that on our platform as well. So it is all about how people are feeling, right? So we cannot do much about it, but to provide information and try to see where it stands. Then the interpretation of each of this analysis is very personal because not just this analysis, people hear from different sources and they build their understanding based on that. So it's very hard to assess what individual is feeling. I'm focusing on the chart and I'm focusing on my technical analysis to make sure that I interpret the market objectively without any bias and try to provide my opinion as direct as possible. So that's the lower time frame. So so we would like to see BTC about 26K, which is there, and then next about 28K. And of course, these are the levels which we would like to see, right? And ultimately, this is the level we would like to see. That doesn't change. So this is like it is still it has to navigate through the storm, I would say. It is not out of the storm for sure, but there is a positive movement. Here there was really a potential risk, this one. But here there's no immediate risk. So there is a difference. It is not out of the woods or storm, I would say. It is still, it has to go, face this and reach up to the levels that I mentioned. However, the real problem comes only if it comes down around 25K. So this is not a point of concern at this moment. So that is at the low time frame. Let me go higher on one day and see how it looks like. So for an example, right now, if I look at it, maybe we can. So one thing I see here is that this immediate trend line is broken. Okay, this chart is a little messy. I mean, there's a lot of drawing, a lot of drawing. So, but let me. Yeah. So if I draw this line, maybe with a different color. So this line is broken. This line is broken. You see, this line is broken. So that is a good news. Okay. Now, if I want to draw another trend line, I may draw like this from here, maybe connecting. So this is on edge from that point of view. It's on edge. Yeah, it's on edge. But anyway, so right now we have to give some time. We have to wait for the day to close. The day is not closed, so we have to wait for that. So with this particular move, it struggled here and then consolidated and made a move. Came down, but not all the way down. So that's a good news. Maybe the angle of this could be little, yeah. So this is still not bad from this trend line point of view. Okay. And then once this is broken above this level, then we'll have to see if this trend line does something. Let me draw some the worst. Yeah. I mean, you can draw from here as well and try to see where it stands. So this is where it stands, very close to. So this reaction is a thing with respect to this trend line, I would say. I'm not using any indicator here. I'm using simple methods. So this makes sense to me. After this, probably it will take reaction. It will give reaction to this level, around this level, which is down. Yeah, this is a range, so it makes sense. Right. But anything price like any price around 30K would give a good chance. Then 28K, 30K. So these are milestones. Now, if I look at broader pattern, what I'm seeing here, maybe I'll go little higher and 2-day time frame, so I can reduce some noise and maybe with a closing price. So the likelihood of this, so if you look at, there is a symmetry. So this is a down move, then that is a center part, this is consolidation. We might see a pattern like this if we talk about patterns. So this is the part, and then this one. Then again, it could come down, go up, come down, very like, then move up, and then recover all. So this is a potential path, I would say, where it could create a symmetry with this symmetry. Which symmetry I'm talking about? This one. Okay. So more like a W shape. So it started from here like this. So I hope it makes sense. So as part of this journey, if you look at if as part of this journey, there were a lot of bounces and drops, right? So if it follows this pattern, it's not that it will follow, but this is right now, at least it has started. So if it follows, then there is likely to be like a zigzag pattern like this, and then create a mirror image. If this is a centerpiece, then this is a down and then this is up. So you see, this is a mirror image, symmetrical pattern. So if it creates this symmetrical pattern, then this could be the path. In that case, November, December kind of a time frame. If I want to time frame with this angle, if it pumps hard, of course, there is another scenario, bullish scenario where it could pump, where I can see one more pattern. This is the pattern. Maybe not directly from here, maybe from here. Critical support one, uh, that level. This is another pattern. Maybe I should draw the path only with different color. Okay, so this is another pattern. I'll show you, and then different color. Okay, you see, so in this case, in the yellow, I'm taking the symmetry of this larger pattern. Larger pattern. I think this is clear to everyone. If I take this pattern, then it is the symmetry of this one. How is the symmetry? So this is a different kind of analysis. I'll add a vertical line. If I add a vertical line, then you see this is the left hand side, and then this is the right hand side. I'll make it a little bolder for you to visualize. I hope it is clear. So if you look at this one, then this is a symmetry. Okay. And this is a vertical line for your visualization. This is like, so this is left hand side. Maybe if it is not clear, what I can do is I can add a rectangle. You can focus on this one. Leave this one. Right. So this is one. This is about this one. And if I go with the larger one, which is slower, then it's this one. Yeah. In that case, the central point is this. In this case, the yellow path. So what is the difference? This particular pattern ends in December. This particular pattern ends in maybe October end or November. It depends on how much time it takes. If it takes shorter time, then it could be October end or November. Yeah. So I hope these two patterns I would say worth tracking. And it is possible that it follows this pattern, in my opinion. Which one? The one with a cyan color. This one. The bluish, turquoise blue. That is more likely the pattern. Now, when we talk about pattern, of course, we have to also talk about the point of failure. So, point of failure would be this 26,000 level. In this case, I would give 26,000 level. If it breaks 26,000, then this pattern doesn't work. And then if it comes near this one, then none of this pattern work. Then the pressure would come on Bitcoin and then potentially a downside move. Because then a different pattern would emerge, which I'll highlight it. Okay. So if you're not sure, you can always replay this video. I don't have to repeat it. So there's another pattern going on, which is very low. In this case, there's a leg down, a little bounce. Maybe I can go with a candle chart. I should turn off this volume. Okay, I'll just remove this one because it's too crowded. I'll just keep this one. So another path that we could draw here. So you see, this is a leg down, then a bounce, another leg down. We can set to this. And then this is bounce area like this one and this one. So this is, I'm just taking the closing price at this moment. And then this. So if it comes down, then it could make this kind of a pattern. Could make this kind of pattern, and then eventually it will go down further. Like this. So again, so if 26,000 is broken, then this is more like a flag pattern. You see, this is a flag pattern. This rectangle. Maybe I'll change the color. So this is a flag pattern. Of course, it's inverted, means the upside down flag. Remember the because this is a downtrend that we're tracking. So in this case, this is a flag pattern, and then flag pattern. In this case, it will just try to revive again. So here, first attempt, then fail, second attempt, fail, third attempt, not high enough, fails, little tiny attempt, probably, and then goes down. So this could be the third scenario, which is bearish scenario. So the first scenario is this, a larger pattern, down, and up all the way, which is a larger pattern. Then the second scenario is this, which is already part of this orange, down, up, down, right? And then it goes up. Then this is not the pattern in this case. Take the symmetry as I explained from here, if not today, it could be Monday. And then create a symmetry of this particular one and then goes. So in a sense, this 26K level, around 26K level, don't just go by exact dollar number, around 26K level, which becomes very important. We would not like to see, in short, we would not like to see price near 25K. That's the point I'm making. 26K is just one interim level, but the point is, it should not come down here. We don't want price to be here. Because if the price comes down here, the probability of new low goes up. That's why, so at this moment, this is okay. This is still recovering, or at least attempting. So I believe that with this is now you might be thinking this is weekly call where I'm talking about low time frame. Low time frame is so important at this moment because right now knowing the present exactly, I mean with a detail, not just at high level, but a detail is extremely important because this is like do or die kind of a situation, to be honest. And I'll show you why, because we'll look into the XY chart as well. And this is do or die scenario. Okay. So basically make or break scenario, whatever we would like to express. So that's why we have to spend enough time. So I have presented three scenarios today. Okay. Two scenarios. First two are bullish. The first scenario, which a larger pattern, it could take time, like up to December, for it to break above the green level, and the faster one would could do in month of October or November. Means in 1 or 2 months it could break above, right? And the third scenario is where if it comes down to the support, then potentially it could go for lower level, which is 23K range, which is this one. It could be 23K, 24K, this kind of a. So that's the third scenario. Now, once you know this third scenario, you know that what is important. The only important matter, I would say, forget about resistance. The only matter that matters to me as a TA is it should not break below this support too, right? It should not come down to 25K level again and break below this one. So that's the immediate, uh, I would say, immediate question or immediate point that comes in my mind. What am I supposed to track more than anything else? If it goes up, it's always good, and I don't care really whether it reaches here or here. These are important points I mentioned. These are important. Like we need to understand where how it is progressing. But as I said, whether it is going to sink or not, that's the big question, right? So that's why this level must be monitored. And there are simple ways you can set alerts, one below 26K and one below 25K. So you'll be notified. So if Bitcoin doesn't go down, and you know that the altcoin will just do well, and especially these 15 coins we have, they are likely to do well. So there is no doubt about it. Okay. So this is BTC. So let's look at BTC and on a weekly now. We have this Coinbase setup. Right? So we had this nice green candle last week. This one also pretty good. It reached to 27K. Pretty good, but we lost a lot of gain here. However, it's still green and holding up. So it happens sometimes. Okay, so this is like it has reset or it has lost the gain if you look at it, but it's not that it's crashing down at this moment. So it's holding up nicely. It's still above the last closing price. So it's still green. That's not a concern, right? So this is still okay. So if this week was not strong, okay, but it's we can say it was able to hold the price well, right? Okay. Um, so this doesn't change, and you can refer my last week's video. Um, this is the major weekly resistance, right? On a major weekly trend. This was the first major attempt. This is the second major attempt on a larger scale, and it retraced from here, but not able, not broken this one, right? So, and this is the bounce. So if you look at the big picture, and last week was the most important week because after 4 weeks of pressure here, we got a green candle, and this one also trying to move up. So from a large picture point of view, I'm not, it is still, it has gone down, I know, but from a larger picture point of view, this is trying to recover. So this recovery attempt within this zone is positive. Remember, this is a bigger recovery attempt, right? This was the first recovery attempt. This was the second major recovery attempt. And this recovery attempt that I'm talking about is with respect to this drop. Okay, this drop and this recovery attempt. Right? This is a larger recovery attempt. So this is important because if this fails, then it will fail this one as well, right? That's why it has some. So this recovery attempt has little more tolerance, so it will fail below 23K, right? Um, but we don't want to see that, to be honest. We don't want to see because this is vulnerable area. After this, I cannot put a green arrow, to be honest. If it goes down, I'm not going to say this. I'll just try to be wait and watch because I mean we can look for the scenario that okay, it could go up, but the probability then of downside move goes up below 23K. See, hypothetically, anything crazy could happen. Hypothetically, if I there are so many scenarios, there is no double bottom here. So one can say it could go down all the way here. That's why my arrow is here. The worst case scenario, it could retest this 16K in the worst case by December, right? In November, December. So in the worst case scenario, okay, the worst case scenario, it could go down all the way down here until this year end. And then when the Fed announces that they are stopping rate hike and all those things happen or things are better, then it could bounce up very rapidly. Rapidly means it could really shoot up. So this is a one scenario. We'll talk about that scenario only if this level is broken, right? So the price is here, so we don't have to talk about that scenario at this moment. But it's okay to briefly talk about it. Okay, we don't have to analyze them. It's just to keep in mind that there are this particular downtrend. So only reason why I said is the anyone who is talking about 10K, 12K, whatever lower level, it is not a probable scenario. That's the point I'm trying to make. It is not a probable scenario at this moment. If situation change, will change our stand as well from analysis point of view. At this moment, talking about 10K is not a good idea because it's not a probable scenario, as simple as that. Because this is a game of probability. Technical analysis, we have to draw the levels and talk about probability. So the probability of this to continue on the upside is still high, right? We talk about scenarios for education point of view. It is important. And then out of many scenarios, we have to see which one is likely to. So if you look at the one day, we have seen three scenarios, right? If we look at weekly, then we could also see different scenarios where this green arrow is the first scenario, right? And then on a weekly, this is the second scenario. This is two. This is second scenario, right? And this is the third scenario. You see. So here also there are first two are bullish scenarios, and the third one is bearish one. So I hope things are clear. When you track on one day, it's a little different. When you track on weekly, it's different because pattern changes, right? So those who are short-term traders or investors or even enthusiasts, they they have to track on one day. Anything less than one day doesn't make sense. Just for understanding, we could look at intraday, what is really happening today and all that. But one day that I have explained is for short term, and for longer term, weekly makes sense. Right? So these are simple three scenarios on weekly. So once this is broken above, then this is like awesome. There's one more scenario, level resistance, which I'll talk about when it reaches there. It has to be broken. Very important scenario, which I'll highlight later on. Okay. So this is Bitcoin. I think there is no confusion in this one, but if there is, please feel free to ask me. This is another setup, very simple setup where I focus on three areas: green area, orange area, and the red area. So it's just different depiction. So this is still within the green, so it's good. That's it. Okay, DXY, very critical. 10 weeks and 10 green candles. I have not seen anything like that, to be honest. If you have seen, then let me know. I tried to find out and I could not find 10 green candle in a row. I just had a quick look and I could not find. It's this is mind blowing. This is mind blowing. So look at this one, very strong, right? So that's a point of concern, you may say. However, it is right in the key resistance zone. The last one is 107. Remember, last one is 107. This is the first major resistance, and the last one is 107. So come next week, we'll have to again see. This week it was looking like a good dip, but there was a crazy bounce. I must show you if you haven't seen it. Look at this hourly candle. This hourly candle changed everything on Wednesday after Fed's meeting. Now, why this is because the Fed has skipped. So many people were expecting pump from BTC. So why this is? So I can tell you my interpretation. So the again, I have listened to many economists and I have my own conclusion. And I'm not an expert in this area, so I'll try to limit myself and try to be, try to make it simpler and with a disclaimer that I'm not an expert on this one. My hunch and my interpretation is um, the Fed hasn't declared pause for this year. So market still thinks that come November, they can raise interest rate. Why? Because the inflation is not, it hasn't gone down. That's why. So if the Fed would have indicated that, okay, now whatever we have done, that's it for this year, market, crypto and stock would have gone up significantly, pumped, and DXY could have crashed. But they didn't mention that. They said this will wait and watch and usual narration. So they didn't say they are stopping anytime soon because they have goal to achieve. So that's why it went up, and the inflation is also, and more importantly, the bond yields shot up. And the bond market is a bigger market than the stock market if you're not aware. Okay, right? The stock market is much bigger than crypto, but the bond market is much bigger than stocks. So the BlackRock people talk about, right, 7 to 8 trillion dollar company. That is all bond business. They are not much. I mean, they are in stock also, but they're mainly into bond business. So the bond market is the grandfather or grandmother. Okay, that kind of thing. They are. I mean, people always talk about stock market, but the bond market is the ultimate market, and that's why we have a chart for yields, which we always look at it, and you see it has broken down. So this hasn't happened. So that's a point of concern. It never come down and breaking above, and this week it has closed above it. So this is not a good news, and that's why DXY is up. The bond yields are going up. Dollar index is going on. Dollar is getting stronger. Another thing I have seen so the dollar, very interesting, the forex market. So in the in the dollar, so this is DXY. So just to talk about DXY, there are 6 currencies in DXY. This is index, dollar index. We call dollar index. So what is in dollar index? There are 6 currencies in dollar index. I'll briefly show you and tell you about what those currencies are. Okay, because if those currencies are weakened, then the dollar gets stronger. Simple, right? Because this is a USD against 6 currencies. So if those six currencies weaken, then the dollar gets stronger, right? So what I do personally, today I'll show it to you as well. Then I also don't look at DXY. I just don't look at or analyze DXY. I go and look at all six currency within this index. For example, it is like if you want to understand what Nasdaq might do, you have to look at who are the heavyweights in Nasdaq index, like top 5, top 10, and then try to see how they are doing and then find. Similarly, you have to go to these six currencies. So the first currencies is the euro. Now this, why this look very similar to the XY? Because there are the weightages are not equal. You can Google it. The weightage of euro in the index is around 65%, around 65%. That's why if the Europe weakens, it's a trouble for DXY. You see, so if the European countries do not do well, right? Don't feel if you're in Europe, and don't feel bad, right? You are not the reason. Don't worry. It's about the economy. Just to clarify this. If Europe doesn't do well, then the euro goes down. If the euro goes down, dollar goes up, and the dollar index goes up. Simple? I believe so. Very simple, right? Those who are in Europe would know what is really happening there, right? So locals would know better. Of course, the European data are coming as well. So the European economy is really right now facing challenge for many reasons. And the gas price, the natural gas price is rising. The oil is also, so we'll touch base that as well quickly. Okay, because this is I would like to cover the macroeconomic data as well in this session, and because this is a junction where the train could go south or north. That's why it's very important to understand the bigger picture, not just crypto but larger picture beyond crypto. So that's why I'm deep diving today. So you see the euro looks very similar to DXY, and it is trying to break out in this case, right? JPY, you look at this one, is also bouncing. You have to look at quarterly chart. When you look at quarterly chart, I have this drawing. See this, this was the first attempt. So this, if you look at this one, this was broken in 2022. Then this was broken. Then this was a failed attempt. It came down, but then supported. You see, this is my analysis in I didn't know that these lines are there, but yeah, good. I don't have to draw them. So look at this. This is like a problem with the JPY. JPY is sinking because this USD JPY pair is rising, right? So if you look at big picture, okay, this is from 70s, and what you will find is this trend line. This trend line, if I draw from here, you see this one, everything below this, and then rejected, came down, and now it is attempting. So if it goes up and break above, that's a big problem for JPY. Big problem. You see Japanese yen. Why? Because then we're talking about 47 years of trend, downtrend will be broken. So we are looking at historical stuff here, So situation is serious for sure, if not gruesome. I mean, it's not threatening at this moment, but it is important to for awareness point of view. What is happening really need to be known. This is a large subject, so I may not be able to cover so many. If there are questions, I can answer, but on call, otherwise it's difficult to cover so many scenarios. Anyway, so let's go down to low time frame. GBP is rising. GBP, sorry, USD GBP is rising. If you look at it, the last one was the breakout attempt, which was 1985's high. So it came down, but you see the trend is not broken. USD GBP. So if this would have gone down below this 0.68, then we could have said, okay, now the GBP is stronger. But no, look at this bounce. So if this bounce continues, what will happen? Then we are talking about new all-time high, not immediately, because this is 3 months. So we are talking about 24, 25, 2020. So next 1 or 2 years we're talking about, or maybe 3 years, who knows? But anyway, even if this goes up to this would be a big move in that case. So this, if it goes up, then also this will have, I don't know the exact percentage, but around 10%, 8%, that kind of percentage. But Euro has 65, around 65. JPY has, I think, 8% weightage and all. Then another is Canadian dollar, which is little stronger, but still this pair is doing good. This is huge consolidation. So Canadian dollar is doing a little better. This is SEK, Swedish krona. This is about to make new all-time high. I mean, the SEK is dropping basically because USD SEK is rising, right? We can see that it was about to make new all-time high. In fact, now it has made all-time high. You know, I didn't look at this week. It looks like it has made new all-time high. Yeah. Last time it didn't stay for long. So we have to see, look at this one. It has just gone up. Wow. Okay, so we have to see. So maybe, say now that if it, so this is the next ceiling now. On a lighter side, those who are in the US, this European countries becomes cheaper in a way because your dollar is getting stronger. So anyone who is planning to tour, probably they'll get a good rate. The last one, the sixth one, is Swiss franc. The Swiss franc also, it got stronger in last 9 months. However, the USD is getting stronger again. You see the candle? This is quarterly candle. This is 3 months time frame. 1 quarter each. Each candle is 1 quarter. It's 3 months. So when you look at this downtrend tracking from 1985. So this is a major attempt. You see, this was an attempt in 2000 when the dot-com bubble. This is dot-com bubble when the USD crashed, the stock market crashed, and then all this when the bull market started for the US stocks. And now because of this, so there's an attempt. So you see, this is, so if it breaks above, then again the USD will get stronger against Swiss franc. But this has very low weightage. Yeah. I think very less weightage. The most important is the euro, USD euro. So that's the one we have to keep an eye. I mean, not for you, of course. So I digressed for a reason. So we would track BTC, but we also track reference data, DXY. But we would like to see, we wanted to see, I mean, I would like to show, in fact, that how those 6 currencies are doing, right? And that's why you see the DXY is going up because those 6 currencies are going down. That's why. So that's the game. That's the game. That's the game. Euro is somewhere here, but because other currencies are going down as well, it's speeding up. Okay, so that's so we were at bond yields. So bond yields are going up. That's not a good idea. That's not a good scene, I would say. If you look at this quarterly chart, it's not pretty. It made new high. So it had broken last 40 years of trend. This is when 1980s. Not a this is a serious matter from that point of view. Look at that. Look at this. There's so many attempts, but all failed attempts until this. So this is a serious matter. The matter is serious for sure. We would not like to see this going up. Otherwise, in 80s the interest rates were are in double digit, and those were that's not a good scenarios. But you never know. This could really go up. This could really go up like this. We don't want it, but it could happen. It could happen. So only I think it has to break below the trend line. It has to break below this trend line in from a larger trend point of view. We have small drawings as well here. You see this? These are for the local setup. So these drawings are for local setup. This drawing, but now this is useless because it has broken above. But I'll keep it because in future we'll need it. So this is not have. This is just support, first support, second support. Now this will become a support. But I'll keep this. So this is local drawing. But if you look at larger pattern on 3 months or quarterly, because you have to look at a quarterly, then only we'll understand. And this is grandpa, grandma, as I said, right? These are this is where the money is. And this is up. It has to go down much below. So that's why the Fed is targeting 2% interest rate, because then this would come down, come below this. The Fed would like to play in this region, the inflation, 2%. I'm not saying the yields and inflation rate is in sync, by the way. This is not what I mean. But the percentage wise, they are not the same, but their direction wise, they are related. Okay. So the yields are around 4 to 5%, and the inflation is around 4%. So that's why they are related, um, in terms of percentage, but not exact. Right? That's how it is. But yeah. So that will be, so if the yields go below to 2.4, then also in that case, I think inflation would be in that. This is where the Fed would like to see, in short. This is where the Fed would like to see. This is too high for them. Right? Yeah, so there's a lot of ground to be covered from a big picture point of view, we can say that. Anyway, this is beyond crypto. So don't try to just look at from this chart point of view. Don't try to think too much. I have to remind that you have to focus on BTC more. But these are reference data, so I'm covering. Nasdaq has gone up, right? But you see there is a pressure. This week was not good week. However, this could be a double bottom. So from here, Nasdaq could go up like this. Otherwise, look for the lower support around this region, 13,700. So this, you can see that this is also important level, like BTC. This has the important level, this one. So we have to see this, how the next week opens up. Otherwise, so this still green arrow is valid. This red arrow is only if this low is taken out. So yeah, let's see. If it goes up, then I think it will go high. Not immediately, but in my opinion, with some consolidation like this, it could take a little while. November, December. It may take some time and then goes up like this. The whole entire 2022 and 2023 is like 2022 downtrend, 2023 recovery, and then 2024 onwards, new leg up, a continuation of a longer term uptrend. So amazing. The whole 1 year down, the whole 1 year so far. I mean, it is 3 quarters up. But yeah, this could be a potential failure point. This is a potential failure point where it could go down all the way down here. And then not just down, but go down all the way or retest. So that's why, but I will just draw up to this one because we have to again see what happens here. So even if we think long term, people think about long term, but we have to also see the short term because the long term is formed out of short term. Remember, if you make a mistake today, then you have to pay some price in a long term, let's say. So the present is important. Short term is nothing but a present. Remember, short term is not bad. People think the long term is always to be tracked. They're wrong. You have to track both of it, both of them. The long term is important to understand the trend. The short term will tell you whether the trend is likely to change because on a long term, if you track the trend, you are going to understand the trend has changed, but you understand late. So there is lag. However, if you track on a low time frame, like 1 day in crypto and like 1 week, low time frame is 1 week in stocks. Remember, so there's a difference. And a long term is weekly in crypto, but in stock, long term is not weekly. Longer term is monthly. Okay, and sometimes you have to go quarterly to see certain things. But yeah, so in crypto, short term is 1 day, in my opinion. Long term is Longer term is weekly, and then in stock market, the short term is weekly, longer term is monthly. Okay, so point is, this is very important level for all the asset classes. You see, the bonds have gone up, but that can be a false breakout. So 1 week, 2 week, if we had to give time, so that's why this September end will give us a clarity, more clarity. So next week again is important. You might be saying each week is important. Yes, what can we do? Each week is important until it breaks above certain level. Bitcoin dominance is the chart. It's still strong. Makes sense because when the crypto is in under pressure, the alts are under they get corrected more compared to Bitcoin. So makes sense. Okay, so that's it. On first part where we cover Bitcoin and reference data, today we have seen a lot of things in detail. I'll quickly show you the oil and so first I'll show you the US natural gas. The US natural gas is actually forming a breakout level. So if it goes up, then the pressure on inflation will go up naturally, right? I don't have to explain. So this is a breakout level. You can see that. Very simple. But it could fail from here as well. Remember, it could fail from here. So until you see price somewhere here, never assume, never assume. Okay. But this is a breakout level for sure. So this is US natural gas, and then we'll look at European natural gas, which is also similar. Right? It had moved up by 10,000 percentage to just to let you know why the European are in trouble in terms of economy last year because the natural gas price went up by how many percentage? This is not a joke, right? 10,000 percentage. I never seen this kind of move. Look at this from May 2020 in just 2 years, little over 2 years, 2020, 2022. You see, March to March 2022. Yeah, 2 years. 10,000 percentage. Amazing one. So that's why naturally It's not easy for the European firms to keep. Now then it dropped, but you see it dropped, but it hasn't broken. It hasn't come to this level, and now it's rising. So that's a point of concern now. So this is still a consolidation zone, I would say, a big one. It has to it has to cover a lot of ground though. This is not a breakout level, but we can say this is forming bottom and could potentially try to do something in that. So if it breaks above 57, 58 level, then it could try to recover, and that's not a good news if that happens. If that happens, and it is looking to recover at this moment, at least bouncing. There is no sign of weakness in terms of recovery attempt. Remember, this is attempt. Okay, this is not recovery. Okay, recovery happens, starts from this level or a little higher, but this is an attempt. So that's why there's a problem. Now this is Brent. So I had drawn this long time ago when it was here in June, I think, June, July. So it is falling. So if this goes up, also the pressure comes, right? So that's the problem. That's the challenge. This is another, there are two markets, WTI and Brent. You can Google it, what is the difference? But basically, there are two markets. The price is more or less similar. The European natural gas and the US has a huge difference, right? This is 39, Europe has 39, Dutch TTF, but US has different price totally. But these two markets, the Brent and the WTI, more or less the same price, and their charts are similar. Yeah, so they are 90 plus. So if they goes up, then there's a, what pattern do you see? Okay, what pattern do you see? Okay, let me know, or maybe I'll just tell you. Yeah, because we don't have. So if it goes up, right, then you see this is inverted head and shoulder, which is a bullish pattern. This is the shoulder. This becomes head. This become right shoulder, and then this could go up. Pattern point of view, but this is still the head is it's forming head, so it's not complete yet. But if it continues and goes up to this level, it could fail here as well, right? So don't, I would not draw all the way up. I would draw up to this one. It could fail here as well. So it could go up all the way, but looks like it wants to go up at this moment. There are resistance in between, but if this is a larger pattern, then yeah, this looks bad in a way, because this will increase pressure on inflation. If that happens, yeah, like this. Okay, so we have seen oil as well. So now you have good understanding, I believe. We'll go back to our stuff. So this is end of our first session. I try to provide uh, a lot many data. I mean analysis for a lot many data. I hope you find this useful. Those are reference data, right? Ultimately, focus must be on BTC, as I said. That matters a lot. There might be some, you never know. Sometime BTC could do something different than usual. Okay. So I remember that. Never assume things. So that's why, though I have seen, I mean, shown you different charts, those who are interested in crypto has to focus on BTC in my point of view. Okay. But those who are interested in other areas, I just covered, so they can get some benefit in terms of understanding, education. Okay, so I'll end the session, first one here. Thanks.